Hi and welcome to another episode of Educator's Voice, where I talk to international teachers and educators from the industry in China. And today I'm here at the QSI International School campus with Jocelyn Aebischer. She's the school's director, and in this video we are going to talk about education in China, how to pick a right school for your children, teachers recruitment, and if you stay until the end, you may find out the answer to why international schools are so expensive in China. Hey Jocelyn.
Hi, welcome to QSI.
Thank you for having me today. I want to start with your story. Like many of your students, you were an international student, right, when you grew up?
Yes, I actually grew up in Europe. My father worked for the NATO school, so it was a very international community, and I really loved that. And so that's what led me to explore international teaching.
Right, so you said you loved that. Can you remember the experience? Was it something that contributed to your life now?
It was, there were in my school only 4 students my age.
Okay.
So I remember all of them. I remember, we did everything together. My school had special events and we would go skiing. We lived in the Alps, and so we'd go skiing every week.
Oh, okay.
So it was just a really happy childhood. And I always thought I would love to go and teach at that school because I had such a great time attending there.
Right, okay. Do you think these students here in the school have better chances in their future life because of the way they grow up, the way their education is in here?
There's actually a lot of research right now on the third culture child. And so there's a lot of things families can do to really foster their child's growth while living in a third culture. So really then they can get the best of both worlds. They get the best of your home culture and also the culture that they're in. So I think it enriches a student's life.
Okay. What do you think about the difference in the education system or method between international education and Chinese education?
Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of times when I give tours here, families comment on how different our classrooms look. And so I think a lot of times if you look in a Chinese classroom, there are desks set up in rows and everyone is facing forward. The teacher is the authority. Everybody is learning from the teacher. Whereas in international schools, you'll see that our classrooms are set up with tables. So we really believe that group work fosters students kind of exploring the knowledge. So understanding is really a focus, applying what you learn, working together. The teacher is not the only authority in the classroom. We want students to learn and discover together and really also have a love for learning and exploring and gaining new knowledge.
So it's a big difference.
I think so. I think, if you look in our classrooms, it looks very different.
Right.
Also very small class sizes, so the teacher can really get to know what each of those groups are exploring and talk about and guide them on their learning journeys.
Right. Now you have many or some non-native speakers English, right, in the school. How do you deal with that? What challenges does it bring to the classrooms?
So in international schools, you think that every teacher is we call it IE here, intensive English teacher, because you are going to have students in your classroom that are still developing English skills. We also have specialized classes called IE classes. So during literacy time, students are pulled out and they're put in very small groups, maybe 5 students, and they work with the teacher to develop their English where it's at until it gets to what we call the mainstream level. Then they will enter the regular literacy class. So we really focus in on developing their skills in small group settings where they are to get to the mainstream level quickly.
Some of these kids go back home to a home that doesn't speak English, right?
Yes.
It's kind of interesting. But then they speak way better English than their parents in the end. I've seen this around. It's kind of interesting. All right, so let's talk about teachers. When you look to find new teachers, when you recruit, what are the qualifications that you look for, and what's the main qualities that you look for in teachers?
Yes, so this is a benefit of QSI because we have 37 schools around the world. So we actually have at the headquarters level a team of recruiters, and they travel to fairs all around the world in the United States, in Asia, and they're fairs for educators. So educators will come there looking for positions, and so they do the hiring. And so there are qualifications the same in all of our schools around the world in terms of teaching credentials, education, experience.
Right. But what? Okay, yeah, because QSI is kind of a big name, right? In international schools, you have many schools around the world, so that's what you mean, right? But like you as a school director, right? What? Not even the kind of certificates or something like that, but what is the important quality you look for in your new teacher?
I think in general, QSI will say this too, I think one of their questions is even like, are you a caring teacher? Kind of explain how students perceive you. So I think you want that teacher that feels almost like home, you know? Not only do they know their subject area and how to teach their subject area, but they also make the student feel comfortable and able to really explore in their learning space. Also, teachers do so much more than just what's in the classroom, right? Our teachers are coaches, they're club leaders, they lead community service. So a teacher with passion and that wants to pass that passion on to the students. Right,
it's beyond the diplomas, the certifications, right? Yeah. Okay, and how do you make sure the teachers that come here, they move to a foreign country sometimes, right? How do you make sure they're comfortable? How do you make sure how do you ease their culture shock? Do you have methods for that? I mean, as an international school, I'm sure it's stuff you think about, right?
Yes, of course. So we have a program set up when teachers arrive. They also, because some teachers are new to QSI, some teachers are transferring from other QSI schools, so we have kind of the school side of things. They have to learn about our school culture. What is QSI Dongguan about? What is our approach to education? What are our expectations? And then there's also the living. Living in China, getting used to the food here, getting used to what their apartment is like. And so we do a lot of different activities for connecting teachers with teachers who have been here, and then also activities within the school. So we have a pretty intensive 2 weeks when teachers arrive, making sure that they know about everything, both at school and in their home life.
You have like a chaperone, one teacher that takes care of a new teacher?
We call them buddies.
Buddies, you got the buddy system.
We also do this for new students. So when a new student comes, we also set them up with buddies.
Okay, the buddy system, right. So as parents, it's sometimes hard to know what's best for your children, and picking the right school is really important, but sometimes we don't know how to do that. What's your advice?
So research shows, and it's also my personal opinion, that teachers really make the difference within a school. You know, a school can have a lot of bells and whistles, but if you don't have great, caring, knowledgeable, inspiring educators, students don't learn as much. So I think making sure the school has quality teachers who are caring and really go above and beyond is one of the things I would look for in schools.
Okay.
I also think we can tend to always think the grass is greener on the other side, and so in international schools, I also worked in Shenzhen for many, many years, you see families that hop schools. They always think, you know, there's something over here that's better than what I have. And I think that is what's actually detrimental for students. Research shows that actually changing schools frequently sets students back, and these students are more likely to fall behind their peers academically and also perhaps have some social emotional concerns. And so really, you know, I would say pick a school the best that you can, and unless there's something truly wrong going on, try to stick with it, because it's good for students to have that consistency within their school.
But it's quite complicated what you're saying. I mean, it sounds right? But like, let's say as a parent, how do I check those things that you just said? Like, what do you recommend? Maybe I should go to the school and spend a day or a few hours. Do you let parents do that, to take a look around? To really look at the teacher interaction with the children? How do parents know the teachers are good? That's the question.
Yeah, that is. You know, I think a lot of times, you know, it's through other friends in the community. You hear, hey, where are you sending your kids? You hear they have a good experience. But yes, I mean, joining the school, we don't normally do trials where you can come to school for a few days, but I suppose that's something we could consider if a family like was really interested and didn't have much background knowledge.
Okay, what do you think about foreign parents in China, like me, that send their kids to Chinese schools?
You know, I haven't even thought about that. I have a 2 and a 4-year-old, and I would love for them to learn Chinese.
Right. But you do teach Chinese here, some, right, in the school?
We do, but it would not be at the same level.
Right,
they have
for sure.
about 45 minutes a day, whereas, you know, in local Chinese school,
Right.
it's a lot more time than that.
Right.
So you do learn some Chinese, but not at the same level, and it's a very difficult language. I think some of the apprehension maybe of foreign parents sending their students to Chinese school are the same that, you know, Chinese parents might have sending their children to international schools.
Right.
We don't have experience with it, it's not our cultural background, so it leads it to a degree of hesitancy. I think one of the big challenges I've heard from friends is the homework. You know, foreigners think the homework amount given in Chinese schools is very, very high. You know, we want our students to be able to come home and have, you know, time to enjoy time with the family.
And I heard the opposite. I heard many parents complaining international schools don't give enough homework. I've heard that.
Sometimes you have that, you know, in one classroom, same homework is given. Some families think it's too much, some families think it's not enough. So that's one of, you know, the lines that you
stuff you have to consider, right?
Yes.
But you said you considered it yourself even, so it's something that makes sense to consider sending your kids. There are some advantages in Chinese school, I guess, the language, if you want your kids to speak Chinese, right? Okay, so I will ask you my last questions. This is my $1 million question. Many, you know, foreign parents in China think about that, right? Why are international schools in China so expensive?
So I don't know if you know this, but QSI is actually non-profit.
Okay.
And so our school is expensive because it costs a lot of money to run and operate an international school.
Okay.
So our largest costs are our facilities. So we do have a beautiful, beautiful campus. And then obviously hiring those quality teachers that make the school really what it is. And so hiring foreign teachers and also having small class sizes, which is a part of our educational philosophy.
Right. So that you have the ratio of kids to teachers are totally different than other regular schools, I guess, right? Like what is it about, 7, 10 kids per teacher?
Yeah, in our homeroom classes, it's anywhere from 7 to 15 students in a homeroom class. And then when you get up, normally that ratio gets even smaller. So some of our high school classes might only have 4 students in them.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for showing me around the school. It was very interesting to talk to you today. And until next time, this was Educator's Voice.